And then after I introduce Adam, I'll let you go ahead and play the video. So let me know if you need any support for me to hand anything off to you. Adam Bird is a very good friend of mine that I connected through Heroes Media Group. I connected with him through Heroes Media Group, which he founded several years ago. And Adam helps veterans tell their stories. He helps them tell their stories through podcasting, through publishing books, through audio. And he has built a network of organizations and podcasters that are continuing to grow and do really cool things, whether it's having veterans that are calling play-by-play at a sporting event, or someone that talks about their history in the military. He has a wide stable of this. So he's going to talk some. I asked him to talk about how do you go about telling your story? And Adam had to send us a video on this for today because he has a little medical procedure. So our hopes and prayers go with him that everything goes well today. And I will let you go ahead, Logan, and play that video. Logan, I'm not hearing him.
Having a good time thus far. Here's Media Group. We are a digital media branding and publishing company.
Well, go ahead and back that up, Logan, if you would, to the beginning.
For our community heroes and those who... Hello, everybody. My name is Adam Bird. I'm the CEO and founder of Heroes Media Group. It's an honor for me to be here at VetXpo 2020, and I hope everybody is having a good time thus far. Heroes Media Group, we are a digital media branding and publishing company. We're committed to providing a voice for our community heroes and those who support them. We dedicate to providing education, entertainment, and empowerment to active duty service members, veterans, firefighters, first responders, law enforcement, educators, medical professionals, and clergy. A little bit about myself. I've been podcasting, doing internet radio since about 2009. In between now and then, I've done approximately 1,500 episodes, whether it's been production, which most of it's been production. I've hosted several podcasts over the years, or I've been a guest on. Today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about having your voice heard, and I'm going to talk about publishing. So it kind of ties in together. So publishing, I look at publishing as there's really a couple different ways you can publish. Books, whether it's soft, hardcover, audiobooks, and podcasts. And those are some of the things I want to cover here just for a few minutes. I'm going to start with, back up here. Publishing in one of these ways, or in all of them, it has a lot of benefits. If anything, it's a great way to get things off your chest, feel better. And you never know the things that you're going through in your life right now. When somebody else hears that, they may need to hear that. There are people out there that need to hear your story, need to hear what you have to say, what you're going through. So share those experiences, because you never know who it could help and what you're going through. It also gives you a sense of purpose, right? And all three of these, quite honestly, you can make some money doing this stuff too. So hopefully I can add some value and share some of this experience with you today. So I'm gonna start with books. Book writing for me, we just started helping authors publish as of 2019, May of 2019. We've done several books so far. But the biggest thing I tell people who are thinking about writing a book, just start writing. Sit down, grab a pen and pad and start writing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just start getting your ideas down on paper. Tell your story. Someone out there needs to hear what you have to say. And there's different ways of publishing a book. You can have one of these big publishers come and say, hey, we'll give you, I don't know, $1,000, let's say, and we'll publish your book for you. So they give you that money up front, write the book, and then they do all of it for you. The downfall to that is a lot of publishers own your content for anywhere from 3 to 7 years is what we've found. Nice thing about it is they do everything for you, right? You write the book, it's a done deal. When it sells, they cut you a royalty check. The downfall to that is that they own your content for years, and you're seeing a very small portion of those royalties. So one of the things that we do at Heroes Media Group is we help people self-publish. And there's a misconception about self-publishing that it's not a good idea, and that's false. There's a lot of pros to self-publishing. And more people nowadays are actually starting to self-publish. One, as I stated, you own the rights to your book. The other part of it is when you sell the book, you get 100% of the royalties. Now, truth be told, there are some cons to it, I would say. And I don't necessarily want to say a con, but you really got to push it. You should never stop marketing your book once it's published, once you've published. Put it on social media, get it on podcasts, do book signings. Like I said, you should tell everybody that you've written a book. And when it comes to books, or when it comes to self-publishing, more importantly, I want to give everybody a tip. So if you're out there watching this, listening, and you are thinking about publishing your own book, here's the best advice that I can give. And if you take anything out of this, take this. Do not, under any circumstance, edit the book yourself. So many people that we come across want to edit the book themselves, or they send it off to a family member or one of their best friends. Depending on what your budget is, budget your money and spend the money on editing. Have it done professionally. You will thank yourself later on. So, and this is something when I'm consulting with new authors, I let them know that spend the money on editing. One of the other things is, as of recently, I had somebody come up to me and say, hey, I'd like to write a book, but I can't write. I can't sit down and physically write. I'm the same way. I'm working on 2 books right now, one that I'm co-authoring and one that I've been working on for a long time, truth be told. And I had a hard time sitting down and just kind of penning it out on paper. Well, I got this microphone. I can talk it out. I got a recording software. So I've been talking it out, and then I have it transcribed. We have a transcription service through Heroes Media Group. Once I'm done with a chapter, I have it transcribed, and then I kind of read it myself, and then I'll send it to my editor that I'm working with, and we start making changes that way. So if you can't sit down and write it out, that's fine. Nowadays, a lot of people have these smartphones. There's all kinds of recording apps and stuff like that. And the cool thing about it is you could just hit the apps, start recording your thoughts and stuff, and then have that transcribed, later on onto paper and whatnot. So if you're thinking about writing a book, do it. Just start writing. Don't think about it anymore. Get out there and do it. You'll be glad that you did, because there's somebody out there that needs to hear your story. Next up, I want to talk a little bit, switch over to audiobooks. Audiobooks is another great way to be heard. In 2018, the revenue in audiobook industry was nearly $1 billion. Okay, And it's since then, there's a 25% growth year over year. And it's only going to expand more and more from that. Hardcover books or traditional books are still more popular, but as you know, we're growing in a society that's in digital age, right? I can't sit down personally. I can't sit down and just open up a book and read a book. I'm constantly on the go, whether it's on a plane, in my car, what have you. I listen to audiobooks, and it's great for me because without the audiobooks, I don't know if I would be able to read, quite frankly. So I listen to books, and it's a great way. A lot of people don't realize that they're missing out on a kind of a secondary income that you can make by having an audiobook. And those of you that have already written a book and your book's not on audio, I strongly encourage you to think about it. A lot of people think, well, you know, I need a studio and somebody's got to read my book and, you know, this, that, and the other thing. You really don't. You don't need a fancy studio to do an audiobook. You just need your computer, some recording software, whether it's GarageBand or Audacity, anything like that, both free programs, and a quiet place in your house. When I first started doing audiobooks about 5 years ago, I had a little setup in my closet because there's all your clothes and stuff. So it's a great place to kind of absorb the ambient sound and whatnot. And recorded in the closet for the first 2 books that I did 5 years ago. So if you're thinking about doing an audiobook, do it. Next up, podcasts is another thing I wanted to talk about. And this is something I've done the most of over the years. In 2019, 70% of Americans are familiar with what podcasting is, and 50% of the U.S. population has listened to a podcast within the last 30 days, and this was taken over in April of 2019. 38% of the people that listen to podcasts have made some type of purchase. So, you know, now you start to see a big shift in marketing and stuff like that. So maybe somebody out there has a product that they want to sell or whatnot, start looking at the podcast side of things because it's only getting bigger. If you're wanting to start a podcast, get started. You know, it's one of those things that you don't need a bunch of equipment, a big microphone, anything like that. If you got, you know, you can record your shows right from your phone, you know, plug in your headsets and go to town. You know, there's all these recording things on here. And then when you're done, you know, load it up to your third-party app, whether it's Podbean, Buzzsprout, Libsyn, Heroes Media Group. We offer a hosting package. And just kind of go from there. It's simple to get started. Really all you need to do is have a topic that you want to talk about, come up with a show logo, figure out how long your show is going to be, and just kind of go from there. And if you don't want to use your phone, then invest in a USB microphone that you can plug into your laptop. And again, there's a lot of different types of recording apps and software that's out there. I mentioned Audacity and GarageBand, both free. If you're on a Mac, GarageBand's great to use. Audacity for like PCs and stuff like that. And they're relatively easy to use, and there's videos out there that you can learn, to use these. And I want to back up for a second. The reason why I'm talking about these different outlets, with publishing, is I've used it as an outlet to kind of help me. I've made some money on it, but that wasn't the purpose behind it. My purpose is to help other people. And I found my purpose through publishing, through podcasting, through audiobooks, and helping other people. That was my purpose. And in that, I found that I was happier. Health, right? Health, love, kind of self-image. These are all, areas that GallantFew focuses on, right? And for me, I look at these outlets are important. You out there watching this or that are listening to this, you have something that somebody out there needs. Whether it's an experience that you've gone through, you're not alone in this. So share your stories, put them out there, because you could be helping somebody else. And whether it's one person or 1,000 people, it's pretty cool that for me, I started getting emails from people that, hey, I listened to your last show. That was great. It helped me out. It's nice to know that you're not alone, and you're not. And that's really it. I just wanted to share some of these topics with you guys real quick. I appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak with all of you. Before I let you all go, I do want to say congratulations to Nick and the team over at Raider Project. Great work, and congratulations on the launch. As a separate nonprofit, I pray and wish you all the best. You guys over there are doing fantastic. A special thanks to GallantFew for putting all of this on, and all the great work that you guys do over there. A huge special thanks to Carl Monger, who's been a mentor, someone who I'm honored to call a friend, and for asking me to be a part of this. It truly is an honor, so thank you, my friend. If any of you out there that watch this, that have questions about podcasting, audiobooks, or have thought about writing a book, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. You can call me 202-656-7859, or you can email me at adam@heroesmediagrp.com, and I'll have all of this in the next slide. Again, thank you all very much for being here. I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. And we'll talk hopefully again soon.
Okay, Logan, you can go ahead and give me the video back. Looks like maybe you did. Hey, Colonel Haddon, thank you very much. And congratulations on winning some swag from us. Make sure everyone is watching the discussion group. And it looks like Colonel Biff Haddon might have posted this to all panelists. I'm going to do a quick copy and send it to all panelists and attendees so that everybody can make sure and get a chance to see that. We had been sending some messages back and forth here. Let me double check real quick and see if Tony is available and wants to talk Patriot Challenge for a moment. And if not, well, I do want to elaborate a little bit on what Adam just said about Raider Project. And that was in my notes to mention at the beginning. And I didn't do it because we're fumbling around a little bit, trying to get ourselves live. But as part of GallantFew's 10th year, we're very proud that we're going to be launching the Raider Project off to become its own standalone nonprofit. This is happening for a couple of reasons. Back in 2014, when Nick Kumlatzos and I sat down and saw the need to apply the things that GallantFew was doing to the Marine Corps Special Operations community, we decided to take some resources that GallantFew had from one of the very first Run Ranger runs to seed money, start this new organization called the Raider Project. So over 6 years, the Raider Project has grown and does some phenomenal work. They really like to focus on their community, which is a very small community, and they like to focus geographically in the area where they have a physical footprint. GallantFew as a whole is much more like a great big spider web, a network that encompasses the world that connects veterans together. So they play an important role in what they do. What we found out though, and the Raider Project folks are really, really good at social media marketing. And what they do is they put something out on Instagram or on Facebook, and they get a whole bunch of people that like it, and they may have a donate link in there. And when they click on that, then guess what? It goes to GallantFew. And somebody says, well, I don't want to donate to GallantFew. I want to donate to Raider Project. So we created a hurdle in there for them to be able to organically grow support. And that caused some people to kind of fall off the table instead of being connected in the community like they should have been. So we've been talking about this for over a year. We decided this year, yep, we're going to do it. And so they are now launching to be their own nonprofit. We're extremely proud of them, the work that they do, and we will continue to collaborate and work closely together going forward. They believe in the STAR model, which is our self-training and responsibility service delivery model for veterans. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to go into more detail and depth about that and the azimuth check. So let me see if I can get Tony Main on. Logan, if you can promote Tony, perhaps to a, and I got a request to post Adam's point of contact information. I will look that up here in just a moment, or one of my staff will. And let's get that posted for all of the panelists. There is, I can grab that pretty quick. Let's get Tony promoted to a panelist and get Tony on here with me. Logan, if you can do that, I would appreciate it. Maybe I can do that. Let me see here. I'm not seeing Tony on the participants list. He may be monitoring it on Facebook. Oh, there he is. Let me see if I can make myself no longer the spotlight video. And Logan, if you would stop your video, that way we don't have to look at the GallantFew logo. Excellent. All right, Tony. Hey, welcome.
Carl. So far, so good. Little
hey, you know, I feel like I'm juggling some glass balls. I've almost dropped a couple of them, but so far we've been able to keep this going. And I greatly appreciate everyone that is attending. I want to thank again the Reno VA for participating, and I want to thank Leidos for being a sponsor for today. We got a little ahead of schedule, so I want to talk for a few minutes about Patriot Challenge, and then we're going to encourage everybody to break for lunch. And we'll be back after about an hour, and we'll launch into Leidos talking about their hiring process for veterans. So Run Ranger Run started 9 years ago when Corey Smith decided to do this phenomenal event all by himself. And a warning or a shout out, I guess, back to the Reno VA. We are going to talk about some fundraising stuff here. So if you want to kill your feed, now would probably be a good time to do that. So 9 years ago, I don't remember now if it was a phone call or a text message, but it was on my phone, and it came from an active duty Ranger at the 3rd Ranger Battalion who said, hey, you help Rangers transition. I got a corporal here that's getting ready to take on a transition, legendary transition. Can you help him with it? So I get on the phone with Corey Smith, and I said, Corey, tell me what's going on. And he said, well, I think I'm going to run from Columbus, Georgia to Indianapolis, Indiana. And I said, wow, and what's your timeline? And he said, I'm going to start on the 2nd of January, and I'm going to be there before the Super Bowl, which was like February the 4th. And I said, why do you want to do this? And he said, well, I want to run into the Super Bowl and tell everybody about how hard it is to go from being a Ranger to being a civilian. So can you help me with that? And I'm thinking, can I help you with that? Can I get you into the Super Bowl? That's a pretty tall order for a nonprofit that nobody's ever heard about, that's never raised any money. And so what I did was I got on the phone and I started asking people for help. And I got a couple of Ranger Hall of Fame members to drive chase vehicles. I got a Gold Star mom to pick up the phone and start making phone calls. And before you knew it, Corey Smith is being interviewed on CNN by Robin Meade, wanting to know, what are you trying to do by running? And Corey's story, and I know I'm talking an awful lot, and I'm going to let you talk here in a moment, but Corey's story, as he related to me, in effect, he wanted to be the physical embodiment of a difficult transition. And he wanted other people to know what he and some of his brothers had gone through. And he had other Rangers that had left the military before that were not doing very well on the outside. So he wanted people to know that was a thing. And furthermore, he was going through a process very similar to what I went through when I left the military, where I said, I got to put my kids above my career as a Ranger and go be a dad. So now Corey's doing the same thing. All those circumstances are a little different. Corey's doing the same thing. So he has to go into his chain of command and say, I'm not going to be a Ranger anymore because my wife says I have to leave the Army. I mean, who wants to tell their chain of command in the Ranger Regiment that? So immediately he was going through something similar to what I went through in terms of starting to lose identity, maybe taking some hits to your self-image, your self-confidence. And we went through the whole Run Ranger Run event as just Corey that first year. And he successfully got to Indianapolis before the Super Bowl. We got him not in the actual Super Bowl, but in Super Bowl Village. So we got to stand up there where all the games and stuff were going on and talk with Boone Cutler about veteran transition. And then he went into his transition. And in typical Ranger fashion, he did not tell me the difficulties that he was going through as he transitioned. And years later, I learned that he was homeless, living in his car until he had his daughter. And then he would go rent a seedy hotel room for the weekend, and he wouldn't even let her sleep on the mattress or the sheet. He would make her sleep on his chest because he didn't want her touching. That was what kind of a quality place he's staying in. But he's not sharing any of this stuff with me. And it's important that we talk about that because that's what we do. That's warriors don't want to admit that they're failing. They don't want to admit weakness, and they don't want to reach out and ask for help until it gets so far that now it is a significant, huge emotional event to be able to come back from, and sometimes a significant financial event. So as Corey finishes all this, we start thinking about how are we going to find somebody else to run 565 miles next year so the trend can continue, and we didn't get any volunteers. So then somebody had the brilliant idea to break it down into teams of 10. Can you and 9 of your friends run, walk, swim, bike? Corey didn't swim, but he ran, walked, and he biked. But covering distance, we even had people that said, well, if I lift weights, can I measure the inches that the weights go up and down? Yeah, I don't care if you do that. But the important thing is get your team together, form your community, go out and do stuff and be active and challenge each other to be better. And through that process, the very first year, we raised enough money that we were able to actually start professionalizing in terms of service delivery to veterans. One other thing that I want to mention quickly before we go into talking about how it's morphing into Patriot Challenge, and that is a year after Corey left and Run Ranger Run was now an event, and we wanted active duty Rangers to know that GallantFew was here with this thing that we started talking about as the Darby Project, but it wasn't a real thing. It was just a kind of a concept then. But we wanted them to know about it so that more of those Rangers would reach out to us. So I asked Corey if he would come with me back to Ranger Rendezvous, and he agreed. So the following year, maybe it was 2 years later, we brought him back to Fort Benning, and he was all excited about it. He told me he was going to meet with his Ranger buddies. They were going to go out to dinner the next morning. He was going to do PT with some of his old guys, and then we were going to go to Freedom Hall for this great big barbecue. And so Corey gets in, I pick him up from the airport, take him to the hotel, and he says, I kind of feel a little weird. So I said, well, are you still going to go out? And he's like, I don't know. So I don't even know if he went out to dinner with his buddy that night. The next morning, I call him up and I said, hey, how was your run this morning? Did you reconnect with the guys? And he said, I didn't feel very good, so I didn't go. And he said, in fact, I don't know if I'm going to be okay to go to the Freedom Hall. And so I said, well, grab something to eat, drink some coffee. I'm going to come get you. So I pick him up, and as we're driving towards Freedom Hall, because I was twisting his arm a little bit to get there, he got more and more distressed. And I could tell that his discomfort was really bothering him. And then it struck me, right? Because when I went back to Joe Votel's change of command when he left the regiment in 2003, I went back and reconnected with men who I had in effect turned my back on and said, I'm not a Ranger anymore. You guys take it, right? I'm out. So he had done kind of the same thing. When I went back to Votel's change of command, I was very nervous about the reception I was going to get. Were they going to tell me, you don't belong here, you left? Or were they going to tolerate me, or were they going to welcome me? Well, what happened was they welcomed me almost like I'd never left. So I knew that that was the reception that Corey was going to get. But Corey was getting ready to not go experience it, because he was letting, like we talked about early on, in the very beginning video, Boone Cutler talked about perception is not necessarily reality. And his perception was that they would not welcome him back, and it was making him physically ill. So I asked him to agree to walk in the door. And if at any time after we got there, he felt like he was getting upset or didn't belong there, embarrassed, whatever it was, let me know immediately, we'll leave. So he agreed to that. He walked into Freedom Hall, and a Ranger, Freedom Hall is like a football field big inside. All the way on the other side of it, a Ranger's like, Corey! And as Corey walks to him, they give each other a big hug in the middle of the thing. Corey's face looked like it was going to break in half because the grin was so big. And he was like that for the next 2 hours. But he would never have gone if I hadn't said, it'll be okay, give it a try. How many other veterans out there have done that, have removed themselves from the community that is so important to them, and then don't go back because they have created a wall between them and that community? So super long introduction into the concept of Patriot Challenge, but Patriot Challenge has this vision and mission of connecting America to her veterans. It, to me, is very similar to connecting Corey back to the community. Would you take over here and talk about the morphing of Patriot Challenge from Ranger Run and what that means for us and the community at large?
Well, Carl, the story that you told, it all started with one Patriot. One person who did reach out to another Patriot, who then came up with a plan together, brought more people on board, and has had results that have impacted countless amounts of people. It did so much more than raise this thing called awareness. Awareness is great, but it may not help somebody. And what GallantFew's evolved, for those who are learning about the organization, GallantFew focuses on one-to-one, one-on-one interaction. Part of that interaction may be connecting someone to a resource. Maybe it is that functional emotional fitness counselor with a GallantFew staff member. But the way we get at connecting America to our veterans and assisting active duty service members and veterans is one-on-one. And that takes a couple of things. It takes time, it takes talent, it takes resources. So that would be a few things. All right, so as I morphed and retired, I very much wanted to be part of the fundraising effort. Because of my background, I understand what it means to separate folks from their money. I come from a Christian background. Raising funds is actually, money is mentioned more than love in the Bible. So follow with me if you're not a spiritual person. I found that extremely interesting. And what I realized is where you put your treasures, you're also going to put your interest. So you can put a yellow ribbon on your car, you can talk about supporting the troops, and you can raise a flag. But when you're actively involved in something and writing a check and participating financially, that is active involvement. You start to care. And you're going to follow what GallantFew does because you invested and made a personal sacrifice to do it. Well, what we learned about the one-on-one interaction, the one-on-one gains trust. Everything after that is community. So with Patriot Challenge, we actually made a move last year to try to really get everybody on teams to not participate in this as an individual. And the move to Patriot Challenge was actually done with one person's approval, and that was Corey Smith. We said, Corey, we believe through some market research that we can get more people involved by participants, which will help more service members and veterans, if we do something a little more unifying than have a title of event that has run in it twice, right, which is something that not everybody likes to do, right, that doesn't have a black and gold color scheme, which is pretty much associated, we would like to say, with Rangers. For everybody else, that's the United States Army, right, and no one else. And as we move into the Patriot Challenge, we've taken the lessons learned. And so now to really honor Corey's commitment in his initiative, our teams have that 565-mile goal. And teams of 10 that complete 565 miles together, after they raise $1,000, we're doing something that's never been done before in the history of veteran fundraising. And that's called the Patriot Program Incentive. We're going to give money back. And we're doing it for some pretty obvious reasons. We're going to get more participants. For any of those local organizations who've ever tried to run a 5K, that can be a horrendous event. So we're taking our fundraiser. We're going to bring more people in, make it a turnkey event for folks. It's going to help us because I already said we need one-on-one connections. And to be able to do that, we need more people. And we're not going to shy away from that. That's what it's going to take to reach more veterans, to close that gap. We know during transition that the DoD teaches in groups, right? I'm not criticizing the DoD's program. The DoD's program is a major university way of doing transition. Big classrooms, check the box that you were there, fill in your assignment, you're transitioned. GallantFew, as we understand the DoD's program, only we're going to hold you accountable if you would like to be successful. And we're going to be there through you. What you put in, we'll help with, and you're going to get out on the backside. So the Patriot Program Incentive, like I said, it's an absolute game changer. And I was given the opportunity to test that last year with some of our Ranger groups. It just so turned out that the United States Army Ranger Association, who's back on board for this year, ended up being the top team. And then they were able to use their funds for their scholarship and their Ranger assistance programs. So as a Ranger, I'm very happy that the top team, when I know that there's a Ranger in need, I know an organization who may be able to support them, right? So this is a virtuous cycle of how we're doing it. And it's really, Carl, I would say thanks to you, it's kind of the GallantFew model, right? We've got to bring people in, you never keep people out, and you provide value for folks. So that's a little bit what we're about. And patriotchallenge.org has more information, but I'm at Tony@GallantFew.org as well. I answer one-on-one conversations. Can our company do this? Can my Eagle Scout use this program? We're going to, as a commander would never tell his JAG to get to yes, or his lawyer to get to yes, but we're going to get to yes. We're going to get more people involved.
And it happens in February. That's when the main event occurs. But registration's open now. But going back to the U.S. Army Ranger Association, think what happened at the end of February, right? COVID hit. And so we're in a position where we just came off of a Run Ranger Run. This year was not quite at the same level as the year before, but it's really close. But then we took $19,000 of that and donated it back to an organization that participated, right? It was a, number one, it was a test for us. Well, do you have integrity? Are you going to do what you said you were going to do? But number two, that gave them resources going into a time when it got pretty bare. So when we're able to work together, when the community is able to work together, then we're able to help each other in ways we don't even imagine, we don't even know. And it's easy. If you have not participated in Run Ranger Run in the past, please check out what Patriot Challenge is. Go to patriotchallenge.org. If you are a past Run Ranger runner, come on to Patriot Challenge and let's continue to build this and do even more connecting America to our veterans. So we're coming up on the end of the hour. Is there anything else, Tony, that you'd like to tell everybody regarding Patriot Challenge? Tomorrow, we're going to talk Darby Project and the work that you're doing with the Ranger community. But in terms of Patriot Challenge, anything else today?
I'll just leave it with if there's anybody whose interest is piqued by the Patriot Program incentive and wants to know how their organization, school, business can participate, please contact me at tony@GallantFew.org, and I'll be happy to discuss some options. And we might come up with something brand new specifically for your organization.
Outstanding. Well, Tony, thank you. Okay, so Logan, we're going to go ahead and break now for about an hour and 10 minutes. So everybody go and get lunch. And please come back because Leidos is going to come on at 1300 local time, 1 o'clock Central Time to me, 1400 Eastern. So please come back and find out what Leidos has to offer to the veteran community. And I'll see you all in about an hour.